Wait. Wait. Did I just miss this part? I don't remember these lyrics. I have nothing on these lyrics. All right, I'm gonna skip that. I was looking at the wrong note. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Okay, okay. Here it is. Here it is. They start here. All right. So, unfortunately, now with this one, I have to talk a little bit about toxic relationships because that's what this one is. So, um, this line right here, the keeping you in check, keeping you obsessed. I'm gonna have to. So yeah, so to this one right here, keeping you in check, keeping you obsessed. That's essentially how other people take advantage, how other people manipulate, right? Because they have to make sure that they are controlling uh, your environment around you. They are controlling the news that you get, the people that you see. They are controlling pretty much everything, so you end up doing what they want you to do, or you have no other choice but to sort of like rely on them, right? So again, like, and it kind of like goes on to that, like the next verse is play me on repeat, right, eternally in your head. Like, so again, the things that other people tell us uh when we're in a toxic relationship, whether it is a romantic relationship or at work, or with a family member or with a friend, it's still very similar. It's just the way that they go about it is a little bit different, right? So but it's the same sort of techniques that are used, right? The needing you to depend on them for this, um right? So like anytime there is any sort of fear in you, any sort of doubt, any sort of like hardship, you go back to them, right? Like, so it's here again, anytime it hurts, you play another verse, like you go back to the same things, the things that they are feeding you. And then they're like, I can be your sanctuary. You're like, I'm the only one you can count on, kind of thing. uh know that I'm the only one, right? That again, it just kind of keeps emphasizing that you need to believe in me, and that's all you should sort of like care about or believe in. I will love you more when it all burns down, more than power, more than gold, blah blah blah. um so now, again, everything it's just a repeat, like I said, like someone who is trying to manipulate us. They would just sort of like use the same strategy over and over again in different sort of like ways in order for them to like corral us into the spot they want us to be. And then so the song sort of like, I love that the song does that, right? Like, it's emphasizing in different ways, and different, using different words, different imagery, that you can only depend on me, that I'm the one that you should ever care about. But I really like this one as well. This line, yeah, you got me, you gave me your heart, now I'm here for your soul. And unfortunately, again, like, you when we give leeway, when we don't have solid boundaries for ourselves or for other people, they tend to people everyone tends to take advantage of us, right? If we are too nice, if we are too gentle, then everyone is just going to use that as a way to take an advantage. In Spanish, I grew up listening to this phrase, and my parents would say that it said that the the brave could do it. I don't know how to translate it very well, but it was the brave could do it until the or like the brave could be in power until the coward allowed it, right? And essentially that's kind of how it is in toxic relationships, or yeah, in toxic relationships. If the person who is being manipulated ends up reaching out for help and receiving the help that and the assistance that they need, then the person who is manipulating, they no longer have power, right? Because they have pushed away people, or they have they lost their power, right? Because again, what did I say earlier? Earlier I said that no, wrong thing. So in order to manipulate us, what people want to do is keep us in check, keep us obsessed, make sure that everything that they tell us is sort of like on repeat on our head, right? And that we're only depending on them. But if we reach out for help, or we reach for assistance, and we say, hey, someone outside of like this relationship, this unhealthy relationship, then that's adding another person, that's adding extra support for the person who is hurting, the person who is being abused. So then it's not only like only me, or it's not only them that they're century, that now that it's not them replaying their love, or their promises over and over again. um Now it's someone else, so they sort of lose that power. And we can also see this in dun, 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 capitalism, right? So once you start spending money, it's kind of difficult to not to. It is very easy for us to be like, oh, it's just go on my credit cards. And I am going to admit that I have been guilty of doing this every now and then. Um, so one of the things that I heard actually now recently is somebody saying that if you needed to pay off like tickets to like a concert, um in like payments, then you couldn't afford to go to that concert, which is sort of like the sad reality of the economy nowadays, right? There's so much that we want to be able to do to treat ourselves, or to for the dreams that we've always wanted. Like just thinking about going to college is so expensive. We're sold this idea of how the more expensive the college is, it's probably like, it has a lot more things, it offers more things, but it doesn't really mean anything once you're out there in the workforce. But now you're out there in the workforce, and they're requiring you to have X amount of experience, which you don't really have because you just got out of college, and now you have all this debt and no one is really hiring you, and it just becomes this really complicated thing, right? um so yeah, we see this, right? And it starts with like, oh, it's only like uh because that's what credit card companies do, right? Or at least it has been my experience, where they're like, oh, we'll start you out with a baby one, where like it's prepaid, and then you can use it, and once you have built enough, like, I guess, credit with the company, they allow you to go into have, like, let's say $500 of actual credit card without it being prepaid. And then if you need more, they give you more, and they give you more, and the more you use it, the better it is for them, right? um but the worse it is kind of for us, because we just can't really afford these things. And if we went to college because of this, we gave our heart, whatever, because we wanted a better life. But now we kind of like, they are after our soul now because they have all of our money, or all of our stuff there. Da, 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 da. So again, it's just more emphasizing of like, I'm the only one who will love you for who you are, for your sins. Like here, well, they went with a bit more religious tone to this. But if you think about it, outside of like the religious tone, you'll see that it's more of a, I'm the only one that will love you for who you are, for like all your weird things that you're trying to hide, right? Like nobody else is going to understand you for that. Only I will. And again, just emphasize, like, just feel the way how I'm getting under your skin. I'm becoming the one person. Um and we kind of already have this idea, right, that, oh no, it's we got a loan out because it's helping. Or I don't know if you've ever heard someone who is in a toxic relationship, but their response is always, but they love me, but they're doing this because they love me. Or the other person who is doing the manipulating, and they're like, oh, you made me do this, right? Like it's not really their fault, they were forced to do that. So again, it's just sort of like preaching to the choir. It's just, they're just saying what they want to hear, kind of thing. Blah blah blah, blah. Again, only one I can rely on. You can't look away. Blah blah blah, same thing, same thing, just over and over again. um and again, just there's a lot of memes and stuff out there that talks about how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Well, yeah, there you go. Wait, no. Let's see. And again, don't let it show, keep it all inside. That is how we are kept in, or sort of like in corralled in that spot, the person who's doing the manipulating wants us to, right? Because um if we don't reach out to other people, if we don't show that we are struggling or that we're suffering, then nobody else is going to reach to us either, which is convenient to the person who's toxic. And your obsession feeds our connection. It's just sort of like all the good feelings that happen. So initially in a toxic relationship, it starts with good nice feelings, but then it becomes a little toxic, it becomes a little bit of an obsession. And we kind of see it in fandom sometimes too, right? Where I really do like this one singer or actress, or like show, and then it becomes such an intense like that, then we start um it starts becoming part of who we are. So if anybody says anything against this person or this show or this movie, then now they're against me. It not anymore about like whatever it is that the topic we're talking about is. No, it's now a a personal. Now it's you're attacking me, right? So like it becomes sort of like that obsession. And this sometimes happens when we don't have other ways to cope, when we don't have other um other help or self-care techniques, or uh, any help from anyone else. If we focus so much on like, oh, it was this movie that got me out of feeling X, Y, and Z, so I just really like it, and then every time I feel it, I watch this movie and it gets better, it's better, and then it just sort of becomes an obsession. That's how it happens with what you call it, with um I am totally blanking on the term now. Addiction, right? So it's alcohol that makes me feel a little bit loose and more social. And then every time I feel a little bit anxious, I just drink more and I just drink more, and my tolerance goes up. And like every time I have some sort of like difficulty, then it becomes like alcohol is going to be the one helping me. No longer only in situations where I need to be more social. I want to be a little bit more loose and less shy. It just sort of becomes like always, all the time, this is the only thing that is helping me, right? So it kind of becomes that obsession, and it feeds into that connection, right? And it continues to go on this sort of like negative loop where like they feed into your obsession, right? Like the alcohol companies make a lot of money from people um abusing alcohol, and you get to feel that relief for a little bit, so it sort of like becomes this loop of like anymore. um yeah. Same thing, just kind of like going back to the same things on the only one that I can rely on. Okay, so now I'm living in your mind. Now it sort of escalated, right? Like now it's not only like um like just feel how I'm getting onto your skin, or like I'm the only one, listen to me, kind of things. Like, no, now I live in your mind. Now you're obsessed. Like it's too late now, you want to get out of this sort of situation. And this is what we tend to see quite often in toxic relationships. By the time the person realizes, wait, I think you're manipulating me, or like you're being very toxic in this relationship, and using me or abusing me in some way, it's been years, right? And it's kind of a little too late. Now you don't really have any friends to reach out to. Now all the bridges have been burned, and stuff like that. So it's sort of like, yeah, you're mine now. Only you can depend on me. uh but I will give you freedom if you give me what I want, kind of thing. So it's still going back to like that manipulation. mm, and here's the other thing, right? Like, no one's coming to save you. um kind of like, again, this song is just kind of like it's saying the same things over and over again. So I'm starting to say the same things over and over again. um But yeah, it's just sort of like that's um that's what this one is when it comes to us feeling manipulated in some way or another. um it by people, whether it's capitalism or work environment or whatever, a relationship, a romantic relationship, or a like with family members or anything like that. It's the same things over and over again until they just sort of like break you down, because you find no way out, and because you're sort of like keeping it all inside, and it's very difficult to reach out for help. And by this time they have already sort of like started to burn bridges in other people, and it's like, if you leave my house, like who's gonna help you? And then it becomes more complicated if there's like other people involved as well, not just you.